You may have seen this guy before if you've watched any of my previous videos. He was the first thing I ever sculpted on Nomad Sculpt, and now I've printed him out, and we're going to try and paint him up using the Zenithal Prime for the first time. But it doesn't go quite to plan. However, I did learn a lot with this one, and tried some new things too. So anyway, let's just crack on with it, shall we? Starting off, I used a layer of tanned flesh. I watered it down a bit because the idea of a Zenithal Prime is that you can retain some of that contrast. But it didn't seem to go too well. The brush I was using wasn't really fit for the job, it was pretty bubbly. But the main issue was the darkest areas were just not getting covered well, and if I covered it anymore, it would be the same pigment as the lighter areas. This might just be something to do with skin tone. I'm not done with Zenithal priming yet. I'll try it again in the future with something like scales or hair, something where I think it's a bit more needed. But for now, I just mixed up some crusted saw and tanned flesh, and even added just a small dab of matte black, giving me a solid base coat to start from. After adding just a little bit of matte black, I decided I'd get a bit risky and try something new. This is my cheap shitty airbrush that I used just a couple of times in the past for priming. The reason I don't really use it much is because it's a pain in the ass to clean, and I'm lazy, I don't like cleaning much, so it's been sat aside for a while, but now I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe I'll give it a go, because I've forgotten the pains of cleaning it up and other problems which I'm about to run into. So I ended up doing a successful layer of tanned flesh, and now wanting to add a brighter layer on top. This is where I encountered my first problems. The paint started to dry on the tip, causing it to clog, so I cleaned that up and tried adding a bit more water to thin it down more, but this didn't work either. So I thought, well, I'm not doing anything crazy or anything detailed, I just need it to come out kind of like a spray can. So I took the needle out completely, and then I mixed the paint by putting my thumb over the front, but obviously it's going to be full pressure now, so that happened. But the experiment paid off, it worked really well, and I got the exact results that I was looking for. So I think it's safe to say I'll be playing with this thing a lot more from now on. That wasn't all the experimentation out the way with though. I wasn't exactly sure how I wanted the finished piece to look, but I started off with the idea of him having black horns. I thought I'd play it safe with the beard, and do the same thing I did when I painted the beard of Jakob Bugmanson. If you want to check that video out, I'll put a card at the top and a link in the description. After that, I washed the beard down with dark tone, and then lost the footage of me doing that. So let's instead move on to the highlights. After the highlights were done, I used a bit of ash grey to dry brush some lighter parts onto the top of the horns to make a kind of gradient. It wasn't going as easy as other gradients I've made using dry brushing. That's probably because of the smoothness of the horns in this case. This is the point where I decided if I was done or not, and I decided that I wasn't. I felt like the horns made it look a bit unfinished, as if the black was just the base coat showing through, so I decided to try and make them white instead. And then, after a wash of soft tone, all that's left to do is to put it on that black background and show you what it looks like. So there we go, another thing that I've sculpted, printed and painted. I'm very happy with this one, and I'm very happy with the fact that I stepped outside my comfort zone a number of times during this project. I think it looks pretty good, but why don't you let me know what you think in the comments below. And before I go, I'd just like to mention that I've now started up my own Patreon, so if you'd like to help me out by subscribing to one of my 4 tiers available, I will forever be in your debt. You'd be really helping me out, and if I start getting paid for what I do, then I think that will also motivate me to push even harder, you know? So check it out, there's a link on screen now, and I'll also put a link in the description below. And if you subscribe to the Knight or higher tier, you will get every STL file that I make on this channel thrown in with your subscription. So right now on there you can get this one, which I'm calling Mephistopheles, and I've also put Michael Scrott the Orc on there as well. If you want to watch me sculpt, build and paint him, I've got videos of that too. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope I see you next time. Thanks for watching.